Actually, I don't know if they still do it actually because we used to get caned. So
I even enjoyed the initiation. I got caned.
Yeah.
Hello and welcome back for another season of the RugbyPass Offload podcast with Max Leheath and Ryan Wilson. Later on the show, we'll be joined by World Cup winner and Springbok legend fly half Butch James. First things first, I missed you boys. How's it going? How's it all back in pre-season?
How good to be back. I've missed you boys. I've missed this. I have missed this. I texted Max last week. I didn't text you. I've missed chatting with you. It just doesn't feel right not doing it every week.
It was a real weekly highlight, wasn't it? Oh, it was just wonderful. Not having it for a while was just, I got a bit weird, got forlorn, real lonely.
Yeah, it's strange. Spent so much time with the family and I don't really. All I do is spend my time here at rugby. See, still here. What's the time? 20 to 6. We'll get on to that, won't we? Pre-season, how's it been? Good question. Oh, God, boys, it's been hard. We've been flogged. We had our first hit out up in Inverness last week. Worcester, obviously due to play Worcester, which I'm sure we'll get on to. So they had to pull out last minute because no one had been paid. Oh, just pressed the button on the chair. And so we played Ayr. And you know those games where, I mean, those boys are semi-pro. It just makes everyone on edge that little bit more. And to be fair to them, they put up a fight. They had 4 or 5 games under the belt. That was our first hit out, and we scraped it. But it's you know what I mean, Max. One of those games, like everyone's going to put 100 on them, and then you're like, oh, hold on a minute.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, it's just like when you're playing a team like that, just sometimes some guys are understimulated, but your opposition are well up for it, especially in like 5 games under their belt. It's just crazy.
When you look at Edinburgh, they lost to London Scottish.
Did they? No, I didn't see that.
London Scottish, yeah.
Preseason's been all right, mate, actually.
You love it. He loves it.
Yeah. We lost to Brief in a cagey affair. Then beat
over there or at home?
Over there. I wasn't involved. And then we played Scarlets and Newport. I managed to get the dubs over them both, yeah. So yeah, it's been good. Now we're into Friday Night Lights, first game of the season.
Are you all good? You're fixed?
Oh yeah, I'm good to go, man.
Did you play any of those games, Scarlets or?
Scarlets and Newport. Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
And then what you back into? Is you start next week or have you got one more?
Yeah, this weekend, bro. This Friday we got Bath. First game at Ashton Gate, full house. Woof. Should be delightful.
Ulster at home, first home game.
Oh, that's a toughie.
That's the pre-season, and then we're into Treviso the week after. But I'm in New York.
What for?
I'm best man at my best friend's wedding.
How good?
Not a good start, is it?
No.
How did that go down?
Well, I left the manager to tell him, but it's listen. 13 years professional. I've missed plenty of wedding, plenty of funeral, plenty of big days, stag do's. Best man at my best mate's wedding. I missed that stag do. Remember the Vegas?
Yeah, you did.
I've got to do it. You know, so yeah, there you are. Don't frown upon it.
I'm not frowning on you.
No, Mark, look at Mark. Mark's like,
I respect
how professional.
No.
Is that why you were dropped as captain?
Yeah, see, I was waiting for this. What about the brief where it says, Ryan, how's the new head coach / getting dropped as captain?
I saw that.
In the brief, cheers, boys. What a way to put it.
No, I Pat's actually all right with that, so long as you like give it real early notice and he's got like multiple players available fit. And it's like close family. He's all good for it. Yeah.
I'm not leaving anyone hanging out to dry. I'm listening. There's plenty of cover. Probably don't even need me. So, but yeah. Anyway, what are we talking about next? The captaincy stuff. You want to talk about the captaincy stuff?
I
don't know if I'm being edged out here, boys, or I've been given a new title. Do you know what my new title is? I'm one of the elders.
You're an elder.
Yeah, there's 3 elders: me, Fraser Brown, and Richie Gray. We've been given titles of elders.
Who's the oldest in the squad?
Me.
Yeah, same. High five.
Are you the oldest in the squad as well? Fuck. Jeez, we're getting old, man. How old are you, Max? You're 32.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
it's
I
a
don't
young
see 30. I don't
John
see
and
that as
Fern.
old.
Yeah, no, but John and Fur and Dave Atwood left me. And now I'm just the statesman. The statesman.
You know the funny thing is, though, the elders get their own rooms when we would travel away to Inverness. They get their own rooms, whereas Staino, the captain, he didn't. But then someone messed up the rooming list, and I was still stuck with Dunky Weir for some reason. So I don't know whether it's just like they were trying to butter it up or something. But now, listen, on the captaincy stuff, deadly serious though. There's always going to be that point where they need to bring through the younger guys. New coach, new era, I suppose. I ain't going to be around forever, am I, boys? You know what I mean? Getting older. I don't feel older, but my age is getting older. And hey, listen, it's a good thing. I'll maybe take a back step a little bit, just relax a bit more. And I couldn't think of a better bloke. Genuinely, Carl Stein, fucking good bloke. So he's he'll do well. But it's it's quite interesting. It's quite interesting times with the new coach coming.
Was it weird? Like, was it awkward being told, or were you expecting it or not?
I was more expecting it. I'd had plenty of chats last year towards the end of the season before I'd even re-signed. I'd re-signed pretty late here. So there was a lot of chat around, what they see my role as next year. And the chat has always been they want me to bring through other guys, leadership roles and stuff like that, which is only normal, You can't cling on for that long. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's just wait till the games start. Well, after the first game of season against I'll be back then and we'll see what happens. But it is strange. It is strange, but I sort of expected it. So it made it slightly less weird, I suppose. But the normal banter around it, do you know what I mean? And Staino he's got a lot on his shoulders at the moment. I feel for the poor bloke. He comes in, he's getting grey hairs already. And I said, it ain't an easy job.
Well, talking of new faces, Max, you've been joined by Genji at Bristol. What's he been like around the place?
Yes, the prodigal son returned. Yeah, he's some boy. I mean, I always got on with him really well, but he's a man with an aura. Yeah, it's been tasty. He's thrown himself into it. Yeah, he's been awesome. Like a really, really good personality around the club. But yeah, it's been good. Been very good.
He's real professional, isn't he?
Yeah, very professional. Like, he just got like a real good attitude. There's a presence to him, like he's fully envisions his success, and you can just feel it coming off him. Yeah, he's some boy.
Does he have a squat rack and a exercise ball in his house? So I don't know, Max. I don't think he does. He's got all sorts of avenues. Yeah, he's a very impressive bloke. They get paid silly money though, those boys, and like big match fees. That can buy you a sword at home. That can buy you a.
Oh no, he's
got all the gear, isn't he?
I can imagine he probably does. Yeah.
Cryo chamber in there. You know what I mean?
Sig's got the paradise garden of recovery.
I've seen his actually.
He got some chickens now as well. It's so.
Oh, don't.
He's going full self-sustainable. Like, I want some cows, I want chickens, I want some sheep. Yeah, no, bro, it's all going.
I had chickens. They're the best things I've ever had. I love them. Absolutely love them.
Yeah.
Sinks also goes to Margot Wells, doesn't he?
Loves Margot. Yeah. He's very, very, very intense about his preparation and professionalism. Yeah, takes very good care of himself.
How's the new chef working out for you? Living up to his reputation.
Most importantly,
Big Naked Mike and the boys. Oh, he's the man. Big Dirty Mike. Yeah, he's so good, bro. Like, it's been unbelievable. He's so he really breathes his own rep now, though. I love it. Because obviously he was working it up, and then he got did a bit with England at Penny Hill and stuff, and now he's that guy. And he came in, and I'd obviously touted his greatness before we got there, and he has completely delivered. I went into the kitchen today, and he was doing a mise en place of the lamb shanks, preparing them for tomorrow.
A what? Sorry,
lamb shank mise en place. Mise en place. It's French for It's like when you're in the kitchen, it's like where the chefs do most of the work during the day before they actually present the meal. So it's like preparing everything. So preparing
wait. Decor, Rodney.
Decor. But braised lamb shanks in a red wine jus with mashed potatoes, some glorious medley of green vegetables. But then he's always got these like lovely salads in the middle. We've got things like a Roquefort pear and bacon salad, maybe even a cheeky little chicken Caesar with sourdough croutons, parmesan, and all the other madness.
Right, you'll go.
We're lucky if we get a fucking soup and a wrap. And like today, chili con carne with some really dry rice and a bit of coleslaw on the side.
Oh yeah.
Like a proper, like a proper rugby club meal. You know when you go down like a rugby club as a kid, and it's like, right, chili con carne, and the mum's made it.
Yeah. Sweaty lasagna, a cornerstone of any good rugby club. And like just those chili con carnes with like just all those black kidney beans and then just tomato paste and mince. And you're like, are you serious?
Yeah, depending on whose mum's made it as well, she's fucking hosed a load of chili in there. Right, if our chef here, whoever listens to this, is gonna stop the food.
Might make it your food tomorrow, mate.
Yeah.
Oh, no, you didn't.
Yeah, very lucky. You're very lucky.
What's my highlight been though?
You're very lucky, Max.
He does really good sirloin steaks as well. Like every time, perfect, blushing like maidens in the middle. How does he do it? That many people, that many steaks.
Wait, sirloin steaks? Are you having a laugh? Do you know what? I texted him 2 weeks ago. I said, "Do you boys have to subsidise your food?" And he said, "Yeah." I don't think we're far off what we pay from you boys. And
well, then
I ain't getting sirloin steaks.
Well, that's your problem, not mine.
Let's move on to Worcester. Obviously, there's one club being put through the ring at the moment. Worcester, really sad to hear everything's going on there. Players haven't been fully paid. Staff have been told they only get over half their wage.
They've been paid.
They've been paid.
The players have been paid. But I think the staff have been
60%.
65%, I think, yeah.
5%.
So, no, boys, go on. Exactly. So, Max, summarise exactly what's happened. Where are we at?
Basically, the HMRU, Revenues and Customs, HMRC have come after them for not paying about, what is it, 6 million in taxes?
Yeah, about.
Something like that. So they froze everything until that was paid. And essentially, there's been all these mad things on social media of academy boys having to move in with sort of senior players and stuff, whilst the club sort of sorts out the payroll for everyone. And that's just sort of had a resolution this week, actually. So, yeah. But I imagine with a guy like Dimes and the helm and stuff, they'll have buyers and stuff lined up. It sounds like they'll be sorted out and they will play this weekend and complete the season. But yeah, it's a bit sketchy. I think some players are using some kind of legal actions, aren't they? Like trying to get out. I think they were, because they can.
But I don't think they can if they've been paid. So surely they'll just be trying to pay the big players straight away on time to keep them there. So there's no way of them getting out. I mean, I know you'll hear of guys like being touted around from there, but in a weird way, I genuinely believe this. It'll make them stronger team for it. Like once they've been through all this, like you said, if you've heard of things like young boys having to move in with the older boys and stuff like that, it'll make them a stronger team come a month away when everything's back to normal and they're up and running. So yeah, shit times for them, eh? Like I said, we were due to play them and we literally heard the day before that they hadn't been paid, but you hear little bits. But the other thing is, you don't know how much of what you hear is true. It's a game of Chinese whispers, isn't it?
But in this particular instance, like you obviously want to stick together, everyone in the same boat, band of brothers, all that stuff. But people still have mortgages to pay. Like, what would you guys be thinking at that very moment?
I've heard they've all been paid. Like what Max
fully paid. Yeah,
I've heard they've been fully paid. But again, who am I to say? Because I'm not. I'm not involved in it. So from what I've heard, they've been fully paid. So as long as they're getting paid every month, then they've got to stay in there, haven't they? But you could see a few guys trying to get out pretty quickly, and rightly so. If you're under that pressure, you got fear of it happening again next month. People have kids and families to feed.
Yeah,
Mm.
and bloody hell.
It depends on the individual.
petrol and lecky prices at the moment.
Yeah, cost of
Crikey.
living nuts. Yeah. I don't know.
Were
Yeah,
there any-
depending on the individual and also their salary and stuff, and can they go find that easily at another club, etc., etc. And now with the salary caps and this stage in the season, it'd be very difficult to find a new club that quickly, unless you're a man of considerable reputation.
Well, speaking of that, right, were there any words on, Van der Merwe or potentially going back up north, or did you hear anything?
Well, yeah, I saw some stuff. There was some chat about the three boys, Rory Sutherland, Big Muzz and Duhan. But you're also hearing that Duhan Van der Merwe has been touted down at Toulon and Racing as well. So only rightly so. His agent will have been out there saying, right, let's make sure we throw your name about, because if things do fall through, then we want to be on the front foot and make sure we've got something lined up. So you can't blame them for that, can you?
Have you had a situation like that at all in any of the clubs? Obviously Steve Diamond's supposedly paying, or he was going to try and pay for food and travel last week. Di Young, I think, did it for Wasps a few years back. Anything similar?
I just heard about Toulon withholding wages because of performances. You lost 2 games at home. Yeah, I'm not paying you this month. And I'll just throw so much paperwork your way. You have to lose money on fighting it in court. Yeah.
Holy heck.
Yeah, that bloke's clean off. But yeah, not the same, not really the same vein. But yeah, that's all I've seen. I've never had that at a club really.
Did you hear any more? Have you heard from Finn about Virimi Vakatawa?
No, to be fair, I haven't. No, I haven't heard anything. But well, it was you, Max. You had a bit of a medical thing down in Claremont, didn't you? I think that was actually someone was talking about that the other day, saying that the medical process is slightly different in France, and it's clearly something to do with that, I reckon. Remember, you had something. Was it your heart?
No, my neck. So what's wrong with Vakatawa?
Apparently, he's got a heart condition, and that essentially means that he can't play anymore, and he's retired. Well, he can't play in France. Sorry, he can't play in France, and so Fabien Galtier was doing a press conference. He was crying about it, or he was in sight tears about essentially saying that he'd been an amazing player and everything, but there's nothing they can do.
What was it? How did it come about? Did he have like a health scheme?
Like a medical or something? Did he?
It was just a medical, was it?
They don't know what I think they were monitoring it for the last few years, and there was a deterioration in the last year. Is everything I'm reading on the French side is they're saying there was a deterioration, and it means that they now get to a point where they can't sign him off for playing, and so there's kind of nothing. Even Russ, there's nothing that can be done. He's just retired from playing.
For some reason, I get it that they're a lot stricter over there. Like you said, Max, with your neck, like you failed your medical test when you went over there, whereas you're all right to play here. So I think there's slightly different rules, but it's it's not nice to hear, is it? I actually don't know too much about it. I'll be honest.
Yeah, that was Robbie Froome was famously sort of told he couldn't play multiple times, but he kept playing, and then finally did have to retire with it. But yeah, that's awful news.
Let's move on to Premiership 15. Obviously, before we speak to Butch and all the action from the Rugby Championship over the weekend, we're going to try and do what you guys have so far proven to be awful at, and that's predicting rugby performances and outcomes. Who we think will be the best performing players across the season, and then at the end of the season, we can compare and contrast teams and make you guys look very clever or very stupid. Let's start with, I think, Max, you're doing the forwards. Ryan, you're doing the backs. Let's go.
I didn't really do it like that. I sort of picked a few guys that might
surprise us,
but I put a few absolute resolute warriors in as well. So for one, I'm going with Scott Seo, Exeter's sort of big marquee signing, the Wallaby stalwart. He should suit the way they play very well. The all-action loose head from the Brumbies. And then at hooker, I picked our very own Harry Thacker. He's looking very predatory this pre-season. At 3, I picked the Springbok bomb squad extraordinaire, Vincent Koch, who's just signed for Wasps. And he'll be a big, integral part of their season.
Has he got the Wasps, has he? I didn't know that.
Yeah, he did, yeah. And then at 4 and 5, big Hugh Tizard. the Harlequins sort of academy graduate. He had a really big season for them. I expect big things from him. He looked very useful, the big Aryan warlord. Then my other lock, I put in Ewan Richards from Bath, another academy graduate. Mate, all action. I'm not sure he's really a lock, but I saw him play at lock, and man, he's a special talent for a lock, sort of utility forward. Very, very impressive, good player. And then Theo McFarland at 6, followed by the Premiership's player of the season, Ben Earl, and at 8. Who did I pick at 8? Oh, I kind of want to put Augustus. I think Augustus statistically for me was the most impressive number 8. So I'm going to put Augustus in from Northampton Saints.
When does Zach Mercer come over to Gloucester?
Next year. So he's got this season for Montpellier.
It's crazy signing that early, isn't it?
But it's funny that they were like, yeah, we'll put it out now.
Yeah.
It's a big deal.
Yeah. Fuck. Come on, let's talk figures quickly on that, just because I'm interested. How much is he getting paid at Gloucester?
Do you know?
No.
I don't know either, but
RugbyPass.
Yes.
The RugbyPass are going to spin this as confirmed. So
I don't have any idea, but I imagine
come on, roughly.
It must be over 5 Andy.
What are you saying? How much over 500?
I reckon like
over 500 or?
Yeah, I reckon like 650 or something.
Yeah, I'm going 650. I'm with you.
Yeah.
We should get him back on just to ask him that question. 1 minute and then be like, thanks, mate. See you later. And then just 6. All right. You heard it here, people. Zach Mercer. 6.
Do people not talk? Do rugby players not talk about each other's money?
Nah.
No, they always do.
We're humble. We're humble.
But I actually don't.
I don't do it more out of embarrassment.
I don't do it more. Yeah, same here. I'm like, please don't even find out how much.
Please don't open my payslip.
Please, I don't want you to see. I do not want you to see.
Gone are the days where the payslip that used to come into your pigeonhole, and boys used to like threaten to open each other's payslips. I'm sure it's illegal.
Oh, highly illegal. Yeah, and frowned upon.
I'm sure we don't get them anymore. I don't think we do. Otherwise, someone's
no.
going to.
What was I thinking though? Do you reckon the discrepancy's gone up? Yeah.
What do you mean by that?
Like on average, do you reckon like the salary discrepancy between the lowest paid player and the highest paid player has gone massively through the ceiling?
Yeah, especially with you boys like down there, because haven't you got a marquee player?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying.
You're going to have boys that'll be on 30 grand and someone that's on 800 grand.
Yeah, fuck.
It's mental, absolutely mental.
It is mental.
But yeah, that's mental. Zach Mercer, 650. Hopefully he hears this and then he can be like, is that all you think? Come on.
Well, it must be. Yeah, it must be. It has to be funny money because he's not leaving. He ain't leaving that.
He ain't leaving 450 down in the south of France behind for nothing major. I don't think.
Exactly.
Oh, I love it when it always comes back to money. It's all that matters, really.
Absolutely.
Quite like we're just in the writers' room at like the Sunday Star or something. Just fucking say anything. Just come up with a number, and then he can come out and tell us what it actually is.
But yeah,
Otherwise,
boys don't talk about it, do they? They don't talk about it. It's interesting. Unless you've got loads of money, then you're like,
yeah, it's more like, it's exactly right. It's more like the loads of money folks. Yeah, you're like, I wonder what he's on. Ooh.
Yeah, anyone clicking above 300 grand, they're talking about it. But anything below 100, you just keep quiet.
Yeah.
I think it was one of the first things we asked Finn. What was it like getting a million euros, mate? Talk us through the cash. How are you spending it?
I know, we're so fickle. We are so fickle. Right, do you want to hear my back line or what?
Go.
Okay, we've got Alex Mitchell from Northampton, 25 years old at 9. You want a bio? Okay, no, Alex Mitchell, he's good, isn't he? I'll be honest, I asked a few of the boys at the club today, mainly Joel Hodgson, who's here on trial at the moment, who's a very funny bloke. He asked me to put him in at 10, but I said, I'm afraid you're not going to be able to because you'll be playing in the URC. So he's not in it. Sorry, Joel. It's going to be Pollard at Leicester at number 10. He's going to be paid a fortune, isn't he, by the way? He's in there. Hopefully see this guy play a bit more. Tuolangi at 12 at the Sharks. And then pretty much the rest of it's Leicester as we go. Well, Will Joseph in there at 13. Is he going to play a lot though, Max?
I think he will this year. Yeah.
You think he will? Okay, because the other one is that Oosthuizen at Quins is the other one I was thinking.
Yeah. Yeah.
So keep Will Joseph in or Oosthuizen in there. I like the fact that Will Joseph's younger brother of JJ.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's stick with him. But the only problem is the rest of them are all Leicester. Oh, no, they're not. So Will Joseph at 13. 14, we got Henry Arundel.
Yeah.
Been unbelievable, isn't he? He's going to be playing for him. Boy wonder, just mental athlete. So excited to see him go. On the other wing, we've got Harry Potter. Or do you know who else I'm bloody excited to see at Leicester? Anthony Watson.
Oh, fuck yes. That's a great shout.
That's a good shout as well.
Fit, yeah.
So, yeah, again, if he's fit and flying...
He'll have a lot to prove this year, won't he? He'll be one of them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Harry Potter. You're getting taken out of the 11 shirt. Anthony Watson is there.
Yeah, great shout.
Excited to see him. And then my favourite 15 of all time, well, after Stuart Hogg, sorry, Hoggy, Freddie Stewart. I love him. I think he's awesome.
The big fella, yeah.
The big fella. Hopefully he still lives in his student digs.
Yeah.
Just stays humble.
Humble. Yeah, for sure.
You know what I mean?
That's a good team. I'm happy with that. We've got a few unknowns and then some real go-tos. Yeah.
If that team stays fit, far out.
Deadly.
Okay, well, we're delighted to be joined by World Cup winner and Springbok legend, Butch James. Butch, how are we? How are things going?
Yeah, all good. Thanks, Mark. Thanks for those kind words. But all good, except for the signal. So hopefully you're hearing me all loud and clear there, and don't break up too much there for you guys.
Where exactly are you?
I'm in Durban. We're off to Belito for a function. So in the car. So like I said, hoping that the signal hangs in there. South African 3G, which is like the old internet. So good luck.
And well, let's actually start with the Springboks managing to break their Aussie hoodoo with that 24-8 victory in Sydney. How do you see it from the South African perspective, Butch?
Yeah, I thought it was a better performance from the Springboks. I did feel that the Wallabies weren't as good as they were the weekend before. So a bit of both, I think a better performance and then Wallabies not being too good. I did think that it was a better performance from the Springbok pack. I think they chose a much stronger, bigger pack and they were able to get the upper hand there, which would probably led to them getting the upper hand in the game.
Boys, how much did we enjoy that ruckus between Eben Etzebeth and Alan Alatoa?
Oh,
it was the eyes. Mate, his eyes were just so good, weren't they? Hey, come here, boy. I'm going to get your bloody head off. It was mad. How good was it? I was loving it.
Genuine hatred. He looked like he'd lost the plot for a second. I'm surprised he didn't start swinging. That was the point where he's going to start swinging. This is it. Unbelievable. But how good seeing him have a beer after the game. That's what everyone loves about it, really, isn't it? You see all that on the field and then crack a cold one afterwards and have a couple of beers together. Absolutely love that.
You know what I'm real glad about those, that Nick White was nowhere near that. He would have died instantly.
Yeah, it was behind the poles, I think.
He would have had the moustache taken fully off.
No, I reckon it should be like ice hockey, where when they start fighting, you just let them go for it until they hit the ground. Then you get the ref in there, because then you won't get the Nick Whites and so on coming in. They'll be nowhere to be found. So I think they should let them have a go, and then once it hits the floor, you get in there and clear it up.
We have actually had this conversation before, and we threw this out there, and it was slightly frowned upon from some people because they took it literally and said, "Oh, imagine this in kids rugby." We're only joking, people. We're having a laugh.
Have you seen that doco though? Have you seen Ice Guardians, the documentary?
One of my favourites. One of my favourites.
Oh, unbelievable. Yeah, not an ideal profession though. Jeez. Just being sent after finishing players and then protecting your key players.
No, it was good. And it did. It stopped all the cheap shots, didn't it? They tried it in a league and it stopped all the cheap shots in ice hockey. So why not throw it in there? I think they took fighting out of the NHL for a bit. and the injuries went through the roof because people were then cheap shotting each other because there was no consequences. Whereas throw that in the game, well, you probably won't have any cheap shots anymore. Although I'm not too sure why he kicked off so bad. It wasn't that bad, was it?
No, it wasn't that bad. But I think the ref also was to blame a little bit. I think throughout the game, I mean, we mentioned Nick White earlier, but him throwing the ball away and irritating the Springbok players, I think that sort of builds up inside of you. And then when there's an opportunity or that little gap where you can get rid of a bit of frustration, I think it does boil over.
Yeah, but why did Mapimpi kick off at Corey? Was it because of last week? It was because of last weekend because he got the try over him and the dodgy tackle.
Yeah, I reckon it must have been. It must have been from that last weekend.
Yeah.
But he definitely did start it all, Mapimps.
He was giving it the big ones out on him on the floor. I was like, yeah, fair.
Butch, last week you said it was a disgrace to the game of rugby that Nick could get away with that. I mean, we've had him on here, and he's a different animal on and off the pitch, and I think Ryan can attest to that. Although a bit of karma with the Aussies losing anyway. Yeah,
I thought he should have actually been cited for that. I think I don't think there's a place for that in the game. It's just my feeling. Look, if you're hurt and you feel that you've been given a shot and you need to fall over, no problem at all with that. But milking it the way he did, I thought it was a disgrace, and I definitely don't think there's any place for that in the game. So I would have liked to have seen him got a bit of a disciplinary hearing about it, because just to set the precedent and not let that happen again in any game, even if it wasn't him,
Did you boys see that video? I think it was him in the airport somewhere, and they were singing football chants to him.
Yeah.
Oh God!
No, I mean, I said he probably should have had a hearing, but I think all the things that happened after that weekend's game, I think he's gone through enough to learn his lesson. I don't think he'll do it again, because I think he did get quite a bit of abuse from it. So I'm sure he's learned his lesson. That
is it. He will have learned his lesson.
Yeah.
I'll never forget Hoggy diving in a game against South Africa once, I think it was. And Nigel Owens telling him it wasn't football and to get up and stop diving. And honestly, the abuse he got the week after that's enough to stop a man from ever diving again, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But going back to the sort of handshakes, Ryan, you guys do that week in, week out. You smash the daylights out of each other, a bit of ruckus, handshakes, beers. Have you got a good example where it's kind of carried on a bit off the pitch and then even afterwards into the dressing room a bit?
Well, only before the game, but never anything after the game. There was one incident in the tunnel at England once, but to be fair, I think, the only possibility would be against Munster, I think, where the hatred is real for me down there. But otherwise, I haven't really had that after the match. Most of the time, you go in, have a beer with the boys, and you usually have a laugh about it. So I'm trying to think off the top of my head. I don't think I have ever had anything where it's kicked off a little bit. Munster's probably the only place it's happened. But nah. Max?
Yeah,
Max, you don't get into trouble.
I don't really get in that argy-bargy. I'm just sucking in the big ones all game. I ain't got enough energy to be giving it out to the opposition. But you know what I mean? I'm just gassed. But I've never really seen it. Every now and again it boils over, and then you might hear a threat here and there being like, I'll meet you in the parking lot after, and all this. And it's just complete fairy tale stuff. But
yes, that's a good one, actually. I do have one.
Yeah, that does happen.
Did you ever come across Rory Pittman?
No.
Rory Pittman, he played, I don't know where he was before he came to Glasgow. He came to Glasgow, and he was a big man with a bag. He could end someone's life with a tackle shield, and that's about it. And he played for Scarlets, and we went down there, and I can't remember what happened. Something happened in a ruck, and he was deadly serious. He was telling me he wanted to fight me in the car park after the game.
There you go. Yeah, you see, that's about as far as I've seen it get. I think it might have been with Will Griff John and Benno one game, actually, Sale v Bath. And that got a bit serious, but nothing ever came from it, as always. So yeah, no, I never really see it.
Butch?
No, I've also never really seen anything, but I thought after the New Zealand game on the weekend, I thought things could have kicked off a bit there with Colsey and Batera. I don't know if you guys saw that when they were shaking hands, and he refused to shake his hand and gave him a bit of a shove. I thought things could have kicked off there. But even in the Springbok game, I think after that try and in the little handbags incident, they called Eben across, and then I saw their number 3. He was walking on the field as well, almost towards the ref and to Eben. And I actually thought that he was coming to get some more, and they were going to kick off again. But yeah, luckily it didn't. I don't know if you guys ever saw Sonny Bill Williams playing rugby league when he's been sent off, and then the guys have followed him and they've had a full-on punch-up after that.
Yeah. I guess no, that's like with Jim and remember Big Jim Hamilton and David Pace, that Irish game, that one as well. That was going on when they both got binned, and then they were giving it the big uns to each other, and then they just went at it again on the walk off. But yeah, that's about it.
But there was that match for you in 2002 against England, and it was a bit of a war in there. And how was that one afterwards? Was it all fine and handshakes, or there was still some residual anger afterwards?
No, it was all handshakes at the end. I think when you've lost 53-3, you're pretty humbled, and you don't. I mean, you maybe want to try win the fight, but no. I mean, when you lose by such a big margin, you almost want to just get in the bus and get to the hotel as soon as you can. So. I think there were a few words at the press conference. I think Rudolf Strali, because we had a few concussions in that game as well, and he actually said, well, we didn't concuss ourselves. And then there's that classic clip where Corne Krige runs into Andre Pretorius and he concusses him. So we actually did concuss ourselves as well. So yeah, we were probably to blame for our injuries as well at that.
I remember that cricket one. He actually punched him straight in, didn't he? Trying to get Matt Dawson.
Yeah, exactly. But that's probably one of the worst memories for the Springboks for myself personally. But it was quite funny. We actually had a defense coach that when we went into the game, he obviously planted a few seeds into the guy's head, because he was the one saying, look, when the guy's kicking, obviously Johnny at that stage was the world's best, so he was telling us how when the kicker is kicking and he's on his one leg, it's a good opportunity to tackle him and to almost like injure him, which I found really peculiar, trying to tell a team that before going into a match. It was definitely the wrong tactics, and probably what led to Giannis getting that red card.
Quick word on the Pumas losing heavily, having beaten the All Blacks for the first time in New Zealand the previous week. Do we know there were rumours that they'd had a good drink all week, and crushing our theory that all you need to do is drink all week and suddenly you'll win at the weekend? Can we quash those rumours, or do we know if they're true or not, Ryan?
For the good of rugby, I'm going to say that's not what affected it, because we don't want. We've spoken about this before. But I think they might. I think they might have been on the piss all week, and you're always going to get backlash from the All Blacks, won't you? You're always going to get some sort of comeback. But yeah, I think they might have kicked the arse out of it a bit too much. Enjoyed one too many beers. But going back to that Matera incident, have you played against Coles, either of you boys?
No. Oh no, maybe once.
Played against him, Butch?
Yeah, I've played against him a few times.
And what was he like on the field? Because I've been asking a few of the boys here, like the Argentinians, why it would have kicked off between him and Matera. I've never played against him, but I've heard he would have been an instigator as well on the field for that.
Yeah, so as I was saying about Colsey, I mean, he's a through and through hooker. I think the hookers and the scrum halves all painted with the same brush, all like to chirp a bit on the field and really get under the opposition's skins. And I think Colsey, he probably can back it up on the field as well. So he's a good player, and more often than not comes out on the winning side as well. So he gets under your skin and then also ends up beating you on the field as well.
Yeah, that's where Matera, you just got to shake his hand though. Like what happens on the field stays on the field. Shake his hand, get on with it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think probably the incident happened like just before the final whistle. So I think he was probably still fuming and a bit upset. That's probably why it went on. Because I agree. Once the final whistle goes, it's all friendly again. Yeah.
Who's wound you up the most in your career? Somebody like your first name that comes to your head and you're like, that person's really wound me up.
Jeez. No, I can get wound up quite easily. So, I mean, yeah, I can't think of anyone off the top of my head. There's not one specific guy, but yeah, I think we've all been wound up before on the field. It's it just depends on what sort of mood you're in and how the game's going and so on. So, but yeah, I can't think of one person at the moment.
Right, Max?
Dave Ward. When I was playing Harlequins at Bath, there was a particular game. He's always been like that. He's quite articulate. He's very he just loves pressing people's buttons. He wants to be the Geppetto of your kind of soul. Who else? Carl Sinclair. A few times against him, it always gets a bit weird.
The Geppetto of your soul.
There's always a few guys, man. There's a few guys who take sincere pleasure in pressing your buttons. Joe Marler can be quite frustrating.
Yeah, but I never let it get to the point where they can become the Geppetto of my soul.
No, I'm not like.
I do what I think is the most frustrating thing. If someone gets angry at you or they're trying just to laugh back, and there's nothing.
Blow kisses.
So I think that's my mechanism to deal with it. It's just laughing. I'm like, yeah, nice one. Just laugh. Really underneath, you're like, yeah.
In fact, front row can happen a lot, especially when they're on top. And then they start feeling themselves. So then they start like head tapping on the way through you. Like, get a nice scrum penalty. You've been done, then they push you off, like when they've got it.
To be fair, there's not many places on the field. It's pretty much the front row where it's pretty much a one-on-one battle, isn't it? Whereas everything else, it's spread.
Exactly.
Sometimes it is literally a one-on-one battle. So I can imagine it's completely different ball game.
It's very egocentric at times. Absolutely. Yeah.
Oh, so glad I don't have to deal with that. Wow. I reckon I'd give a lot less shit out if I was in the front row.
Oh,
knowing that at any point I could get my head shoved straight up my arse.
Exactly. There's always a day where there's a bigger fish that comes along and you're feeling good, and then suddenly, oh no, it's been a bad day in the ranks, and you feel like a human tortoise just trying to kind of retrieve some height for your cervical spine. Yeah, it's been terrible.
Right, let's move on to Butch and your fabulous career. We're gonna. We'll look at the whole lot, as much of it as we can whilst we've still got time. But we were talking a little bit about controversy earlier. You've been in trouble a few times in your career for your tackling technique. I saw you in the sin bin a couple of times. Lots of people have said actually Owen Farrell bases his technique on yours. First things first, Butch, are you thankful you don't play in this age of overactive TMOs?
Yeah, I'm definitely thankful. I mean, I was often on the wrong end of the law, but I actually didn't have too many yellow cards. I only had I can count them on both hands. So, I mean, 10 is a lot, but I don't think I went further than 10. So,
you reckon you had 10 yellow cards your whole career?
Yeah, I think.
Someone get on Google.
I mean, for South Africa, out of 42 tests, I had 2 yellow cards. So I think that wasn't too bad. Who do you guys know who's got the most yellow cards for South Africa?
No, but do you?
I do, yeah.
Is it? I was gonna say Bucky's, but I feel like he didn't get caught often.
No, because back then you were allowed to do it. You were allowed to punch people. No,
The guy who's got the most yellow cards for South Africa is Brian Abana.
Is that right?
Yeah, it's quite hard to believe, but yeah, obviously he's played over 100 games, which does help him get the tally up. But yeah, he's up there, and then Skulk and Bucky's are there in the top 5. But they.
Oh yes, Skulky's a good one. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think in today's game, I definitely would have had at least 20. That's for sure. In 20 games. But yeah, I mean, look, I think I've actually just watched that thing on Michael Lippmann today with the concussion, and because I've been saying for a while now, I thought the game, I mean, we all love it because of the collisions and the big impacts. I think that's one of the reasons I still like to go and watch a live game, is to see a big impact or a big tackle, big collision. And I just feel that the new laws are almost taking a little bit of that away. You know, I think the guys are a bit tentative going into a collision, and I wouldn't like to see that disappear. You know, but yeah, I think like the ones where the two players are hitting head on head by complete mistake and accident, no one ever wants to tackle with their head. I wouldn't think so, but no one wants to tackle head on head, and they guys are getting a yellow card for it. I think there definitely is a bit of room for improvement there with the laws. But I see what they're trying to get at. I mean, rugby, there's a lot of grey area as well. They're trying to make it black and white. So I get that. But sometimes it's just a rugby accident, and the ref need to be able to blow that.
Agree.
How's your shoulders?
My shoulders are actually good. I mean, everyone. That's what a lot of guys say, like how the injuries, like after you've retired, and how the shoulders are. Actually, the only time I ever hurt my shoulder was scoring a try, and one of the Saracens guys jumped on my shoulder and it dislocated. But besides that, I never actually hurt them, because I think if you do the shoulder charge, it looks after you. You don't actually get injured.
Butch, talk us through that, the technique. I mean, what were you thinking going into those tackles?
He's thinking.
No, I think, look, this all blew up 2001. It was my first year actually onto the Super Rugby scene, and the New Zealanders and Australians, especially the Australians, they latched onto it quite a lot, and it was almost after every game in the newspapers and the media, and so it blew up quite a bit then. And I mean, one of my regrets after retiring now, and if I could go back, I think 2001, I would have definitely done things a bit differently. Like I said, I always liked the collision part of the sport, and I loved tackling. I didn't actually like getting tackled, but I like to tackle and to put in a big hit. I always thought that it lifted the team and lifted the energy of the guys around you. So I like to put in a big tackle, and the problem was that I was a fly off, and I was always looking for that and wanting to do the next big tackle, where I should have been guiding the ship and making sure that I made the right calls and so on. But I was like a headless chicken, you know, running around there trying to make a big tackle. So yeah, I really regret 2001 was the year where the whole shoulder thing exploded. And yeah, I mean, wherever I go now, no one will ever say that I had good distribution or good tactical kicking. It was all about the tackling. So wherever I go, that still follows me. And I think if I could go back and have 2001 again, I would erase that and take it away. So, but it is what it is, and I enjoyed putting the hits that I did put in. So I'll try hang on to those memories.
What about clearing rucks?
and clearing rucks. I mean that's another prime one. I think it really boiled over when I sat on the bench, you know, and I think when you're sitting on the bench and you're watching the game, it's similar to like when I was watching last weekend and seeing what Nick White did, and then when you're on the bench and then you're seeing that, and now you're getting all yourself worked up, and then next minute the coach says, "Hey, you're on the field." Now you just want to take someone's head off, you know. So I think that's what happened in the ruck.
Literally,
I thought the ruck was a good place to injure or to hurt the opposition. I think they're sitting there in the ruck, and you got a free shot at someone in the ruck, you know. So I always feel that's where you can get a good hit in. But yeah, you obviously got to do it legally, and nowadays with all the cameras around and the TMO, you're not going to get away with that sort of stuff.
Did you play with Josh Strauss at the Lions?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
Oh, what a man, eh?
Yeah, he loves fitness, old Josh. Yeah.
Oh yes, loves a Bronco test. Loves a 6-minute 30 Bronco.
Oh no!
Yeah. Oh man,
no.
you should have seen him up at altitude with Vern Cotter as coach in a World Cup training camp. Oh, one of the funniest things I've ever seen. We're doing like fitness testing, and we're getting back, resting, and it's one of those ones where the 30-second rest ends and Strauss is still on his way back. And they're like, no, again. And he's just, oh, God.
Oh, that's when they're awkward, when it gets to that long. You're just like, oh, no.
Oh, I love him. What a man. What a man.
No, I was amazed. I mean, he was so good on the field. I don't know how he did it, because when we did fitness or preseason, he was completely useless. But on the field, he could play.
He always blamed it on his calves. He said that his calves were so big that he said it just took all his blood from everywhere. My calves, man, my calves. That's what he used to say. Oh, my calves. Oh,
But let's stay with 01. Obviously, you touched upon that suspension, but what are your actual memories of your debut and the kind of brutal initiation that followed?
Yeah, I think like everyone's debut, it does, like everyone says to you beforehand, just enjoy it, because it's going to fly by and you're not going to remember much. And it does. It goes so quickly. It was especially for myself. I mean, I was coming into the squad as quite a youngster. I had so many of my heroes growing up when I was still at school. I was playing in the same team as them. So it was a huge honor for me. And yeah, I almost had to pinch myself that I was on the field singing the anthem with these guys next to me. I mean, Worcester was my scrum off on my debut. So I had all these guys around me, and we played the French at Ellis Park, a field that the Springboks are normally pretty good at, and we actually lost the game. So it wasn't a great start, but yeah, I absolutely loved every minute of it. And even the initiation, it's quite hectic afterwards, and yeah, I even loved that, you know. So yeah, it was a huge honor, and obviously a day that I'll never ever forget.
What's the initiation?
I was going to say, you can't just drop that in there and then not explain it.
No, we actually, I don't know if they still do it actually, because we used to get caned. So
I even enjoyed the initiation. I got caned.
Yeah. I got caned 3 times, but by Mark, it wasn't yeah, it wasn't ideal, but yeah, it was all part of the tradition, and yeah, so I didn't mind it. But
what, on the arse, on the back?
On the arse, yeah. So, but yeah, I think they actually stopped that, because we also used to do that at the Sharks. We used to cane the guys whenever we played off their first away game. Then on the runway, when we were about to jump on the airplane, we used to give the guy, I think, 3 or 4. And yeah, the guys actually, the next week in training, they used to pull their hamstrings because of all the blood and the bleeding from their bum. What? I don't know, somehow affected their hamstrings, and the guys were pulling their hamstrings. So I'm sure it's been stopped now. They stopped it at school, so I'm sure we're not allowed to do it.
Imagine doing it this day and age. You'd have a HR nightmare.
Yeah, big time.
Hang on, Butch, you mentioned school. Didn't Maritzburg College have a hell of an initiation as well?
Yeah, they did. They did have a hell of an initiation. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to say what it is.
Yeah, it's open forum.
Yeah. No, well, yeah, geez, I'm sure it's also changed now, but we used to get polished. It was a tradition where they would pull you into the room, and then they'd take the shoe polish with the shoe brush, and they would polish your private parts, but vigorously. It wasn't like, they weren't like shining. They were trying to hurt you. But they used to do that. We used to do that for our second team and the first team. And in my final year at school, the first weekend I played for the second team, and then after that weekend I played for the first team the weekend after. So I had it 2 weeks in a row, which wasn't ideal.
Shiny set of nuts, though. Oh my goodness! Never heard that one before, I'll be honest.
Yeah, I'm sure it's changed now.
Yeah, no, I'm just writing it down for the new boys. The new season.
It's some brainstorming. Let's move on.
Oh, okay.
2007. Oh, wow. Butch, you played in every game in that World Cup. You come up against the English in the final. Matt Stevens has been on. He said that John Smith was asking for English blood in Afrikaans that day. Can you remember his team talk pre-match?
To be honest, I can't remember too much of the team talk. I think, yeah, I mean, most games I didn't listen to what anyone was saying, and I think before that game there was so much pressure on, and we had just lost the Super Rugby final a couple of months before, so I was just like praying that we were going to win this game, and just to get that whole monkey off our backs after losing it to the Bulls in that Super Rugby final. So yeah, there was a lot of pressure, and yeah, obviously going into that game, we were also the favourites to win after beating England in the pool game so comfortably. So there was a lot of pressure on. So yeah, I was probably just trying to focus a bit on exactly what I had to do, and I can't really recall exactly what John had to say, unfortunately. I told John that he was the captain, so he would run onto the field first, but that's all he did. I would make all the calls, and I was the captain on the field. So that's what I always tell John.
Do you tell Baki's birthday that as well, straight to his? I mean, he looks the scariest man in the world. I mean, is he the most terrifying guy you've ever played with?
He definitely is, and I mean, there's not often a guy who's in your team and you're in a ruck, and you're actually looking behind you to see what Bucky says, because if he's not on the floor in the same ruck as you, you know that he's coming and he's going to hit that ruck worse than the ruck we just saw just now. Yeah, so I mean, even he doesn't care if you're in his team or not. I mean, he's hitting that ruck and he's going to make it move. And if you're in the way, he's going to move you as well. So he definitely is one of the guys that you don't like playing against. And even when you're in his team, you make sure that you know where he is all the time.
Who had to cane him? That'd be the one. No, you do it. No, you do it. No, you do it. Just passing the game around.
It was the softest caning ever.
Yeah, too right.
What was Eddie Jones like? He was the assistant coach, I think, for that amazing victory for you guys. What were your recollections of him?
Yeah, obviously Eddie joined us pretty late before we went to the World Cup. We only had probably a month or two with him before we actually went to Paris, and yeah, he was brilliant. I really enjoyed him. I thought he helped us, especially as backs, a hell of a lot. I think often as South Africans, we try out muscle the other team and not really give it our moves or why you're running a line too much thought. And I think he really brought a huge aspect to our game in that regard. He made sure that guys knew what they were doing, why they were running an angle, and why they were doing it, and why they were running this dummy line, who they had to stop on the opposition side. So he really did bring a new dimension to the way we attacked and how we thought about things. Quite often, it's quite frustrating as a player when you got someone running a dummy line for you, and when you catch the ball, he's already in front of you, and not really committing anyone on their defense. So he really brought small little things like that to us, and yeah, he was also a calming influence on us as well going into the World Cup.
The most important, of course, was an amazing victory, but how did you celebrate it afterwards?
It was quite funny, actually. Like pretty soon after the final whistle, we had our broadcasters there, Super Sport, and they were pulling a few of us to the side and giving us interviews, and it was quite funny. The one guy asked me, "Yeah, and how are you guys going to celebrate tonight?" So I said, "It's going to be like Stevie Wonder all night long." So the cameraman was laughing, the producer was laughing, and so I had a bit of a giggle, and then I went into the change room, and my roommate at the World Cup was Bob Skinstad. So we were sitting there having a beer, and I told him the story. I said, "Hey, you won't believe the guys were interviewing me, and they said, what's tonight going to be like?" And I said, "It's going to be like Stevie Wonder all night long." And he looked at me and he said, "What? Lionel Richie sings that song, man." So yeah, I mean, that's how things started. But I mean, the game was at 9:00 in Paris. So I mean, the final whistle probably around 11, and a few celebrations in the change room. So we only really got back to a hotel about 1:30, 2. So it was already a late night, but we stayed in our team room, and all our friends and family were in there. So it was an awesome night, and we eventually went to bed. It must have been about 6 o'clock in the morning. So I can't remember exactly what time it was, but yeah, it was a good night, and yeah, it was pretty special. My whole family was there, so that was pretty awesome.
I thought the reference to Stevie Wonder was because you were going to get blind drunk.
Yeah,
Did anyone else think that?
That's
I thought that was going to be the pun.
Butch, you then decided to come to England and play for Bath, sharing a dressing room with some legends of the game. Bath at the time struggling with a lot of off-field issues. We know they had a bit of a reputation for drugs at the time. With that in mind, there must have been some pretty good nights out, though, right?
yeah.
Mark.
That's the whole drug scandal probably came in, I think, if not my second year, like between my second and third year at the club. I think it was the end of year party, I think 2009. So yeah, it's probably my second year with the club. And I must say, I mean, I never actually knew about it. I didn't go on that end of year do. I was in a knee brace back at home. I just had a knee op, so I didn't end up going on the all day in London. So yeah, I didn't get to see what was going on and exactly what the story was. But besides that, those few years that I had at Bath were probably some of the most fun I've ever had playing rugby. And I think that's probably why I believe I played my best rugby of my career for Bath, and it was probably because we had such a good team spirit and we had such a good time. So I'm not saying I was involved with the drugs or anything like that, and that's why it was fun.
It was a big part of my performance.
That's why.
The guys that I met there and the teammates were just unbelievable guys, and yeah, we definitely had a good time, and it showed in the way we played.
Who were the best, like three best team men then in the group when you were at Bath? If you had to pick three of the best team men, forget about rugby, forget about drugs. Yeah,
I think the three best. Well, I'm going to leave someone out, so I'll name a few. Nick Abendanon was a great guy. Tom Cheeseman, Michael Lipman, Andrew Beattie. Well, Flats was a lot of fun. Peter Dixon, Michael Claessens. Yeah, I mean, most of the squad. I mean, we just had a real good bunch of guys, and it always helps with everything when you do have good guys and they also can play a bit.
Just a quick question, because I'm always interested in this with Bath. Did everyone, when you play for Bath, live in Bath?
Sort of.
Mostly around, because the reason I ask is I always think, like, you hear about teams being close, and a couple of different teams where they've got, like, I speak to Barks, who was down in Wales, and he said no one actually lived near the club. But I always feel with Bath, I imagine that because everyone's within such close proximity of each other, there's not a huge amount to do there. You spend a lot of time together, which helps build the culture and everything that within the club. All right.
Yeah. I mean, on our off days as well, we were always together. We'd meet for breakfast, and often, what is it? Those little betting shops, Creed or Credos or something. Like
Cookies,
guys, we go for one spin in there, and we end up staying the whole day. And so we definitely did. We spent a lot of time together off the field and in our spare time as well. And yeah, we all did live in Bath or just on the outskirts. So it was all 5-10 minutes into town. So it was really close.
What was the go-to bar back then? Like for the boys up the game? Was sub 13 still going on?
He's going to say he never went out.
Yeah, sub 13, Second Bridge.
They were all still, oh, wow. Fair.
Is sub 13 the one which is like inside a bunker sort of thing? You go inside, it's like archways.
No, that's Second Bridge.
Second Bridge,
Second Bridge. The sub 13 does have an under bit, but Second Bridge is the one that's fully underground. Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't know how I got there, but I remember being inside there.
Boys, it's last three questions, Butch, and then we'll let you get on. So we know you're at a function with probably an increasingly irate wife at the moment. But you got to travel the world with club and country, and throughout all of that and your entire playing career, who was the worst roommate you ever had to bunk up with?
It was probably John Smith. I think Barney, I mean, he just loves to eat, that guy. So whenever I roomed with him, he would influence my eating, and I would gain like 5 kgs every time we roomed together. But I also, I mean, especially with the Springboks, at the Springboks, when you've played 50 caps, you get your own room. So most of my mates and friends that I used to room with, they all had over 50 caps. So I never reached 50. And whenever I was in the Springbok camp, I always got the new guys. So my roommates were always changing almost every tour. So yeah, I went through quite a few. So maybe I was the common denominator there, and the bad roommate. Yeah, I can't think.
Bad luck, Butch.
Yeah.
You got to play against the legendary Joe Nolomu. What was that like?
Yeah, but I mean, it was pretty scary. I think I recall we played against him at Newlands once, the South Africa versus New Zealand, and I did a line kick, but I didn't find touch, so I chased up with the chasing line, and I saw him obviously making his way infield a little bit, so I actually stepped to the left to give him a little bit of a gap, so that if he hit the gap, then I could try to tackle him from the side. But I gave him a nice gap, and he sidestepped the gap to run straight at me and run straight. So yeah, he was a freak and really, really scary. So yeah, for me, the best rugby player there ever has been. So he was really good.
Yeah, so I've got a question. So a lot of players now think that Joe Nolomu wouldn't be as dominant as he was back then because of the era and athletic development and stuff in the professional game. But would you say that's absolute nonsense? He'd still be as dominant as he was?
I think he would still dominate. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think maybe as much as he did, but yeah, I don't think he'll be far off. I think he would still be a beast.
Yeah, he was horrific sort of athlete.
We know you're involved with the South African Rugby Legends gang. How loose does it get when you guys all hang out together nowadays? Quite unreal.
Yeah, it's good. It's good. We actually every year we normally go to Bermuda. There's a classic Rugby Legends tournament at the end of each year in Bermuda, and I mean that's pretty. But it's quite full on. I mean, I go as the coach because there's no ways I would play. The guys get stuck in. I mean, Argentina are there, and I think an Italian team where they train for months before they get there. Where our guys, they put their boots on for the first time when we go for our captain's run before the first game. So it's pretty hectic. The games are pretty physical and full on, but the guys play harder off the field. It's a good time, and yeah, I find it pretty strange that I think there's about 8 teams that arrive in Bermuda, and they give every single player and management a scooter to get around the island. So you can just imagine the chaos that goes on there. And yeah, luckily everyone gets on the plane and goes home in one piece, but I'm not sure how they do it.
Fab, but let's just finish on our quick fire rounds. First thing that comes into your head.
Oh, no.
Don't put too much thought into it.
Just
Worst enemy in rugby?
Australia.
Well, you said that Joe Nolomu is the best player you ever played against. Who's the best player you've ever played with?
Jeez. I will go with. Oh, I know you said the first thing that comes to my head, but I've been so lucky to play with so many good players. And I've been lucky that they've all been scrum offs and centers, so it's always made my job easy and helped me along. But Craig Davidson, Michael Claessens, Ollie Barkley, Jean de Villiers, Francois Steyn, Brad Barrett, all those guys just jump to mind for me because they helped me do my job so easily.
Loosest teammate you've ever played with?
Ollie Barkley was pretty loose, wasn't he?
Yeah, Ollie was loose. Yeah, very loose. Yeah, probably Ollie or Tom Cheeseman also up there.
And then finally, 3 players in a cab with you for the ultimate piss up.
Jean de Villiers, Skalkberger, and John Smith.
Nice. I know we said that's the last thing. I've just got to ask you one thing quickly. Our new head coach is a guy called Franco Smith. Have you ever had any dealings with him?
Only a small dealings. I don't know him too well. Yeah.
Right, okay. I just need some more intel on him. That's all.
I will get them from the Cheetahs boys. They'll know a bit of intel there.
Right. Okay. I'll get on it.
Yeah.
Anything that guarantees Ryan a start every week. So really,
No, not that sort of intel. I don't need blackmail. Come on. Maybe I do.
Yeah.
Legend. No, mate. Thanks very much for coming on, dude. That's been awesome.
Cheers,
Sorry
Butchie.
for your event.
Pleasure, guys. Sorry about the little break there with the signal there.
All good.
Yeah, brilliant. Well, sadly, that is all the time we've got left for this week. A huge thank you to Ryan and Max, and a huge thank you to Butch in particular. And we'll see you all next week.